Have you ever thought about what lies beneath Fiji's beautiful beaches and clear waters? As we look into this tropical paradise's dark and mysterious past, we'll find stories of murder, intrigue, and unsolved secrets that go against its picture-perfect appearance. What really happened to the people who disappeared without a trace? How did these scary events change Fiji into what it is today? Watch this space as we go into more detail about murders in paradise. The hidden history of Fiji. Fiji is a tropical paradise located in the South Pacific, and it is frequently praised for its breathtaking beaches, thriving coral reefs, and historically significant cultural legacy. In spite of this, there is a hidden past that is characterized by violence, intrigue, and mystery that lies behind this bucolic veneer. The narrative of Murders in Paradise digs into this darker side of Fiji's history, showing a tapestry that is weaved with colonialism, cultural disputes, and crimes that have not been solved. Early history and the first contacts with Europeans. The arrival of the Lapita people, who are the progenitors of the indigenous Fijians, is considered to be the beginning of Fiji's history, which dates back more than 3,500 years. Agriculture and fishing were the primary economic activities in the villages that these early settlers established. They brought with them a sophisticated navigational skill set and a rich cultural heritage. An explorer from the Netherlands named Abel Tasman made the initial discovery of the islands of Fiji in the year 1643, marking the beginning of European contact with the region. Nevertheless, Captain James Cook did not make his first visit to Fiji until the year 1774. 3 years later, in 1789, Captain William Bligh, who is famous for passing through Fiji after the mutiny on the HMS Bounty, did the same. The descriptions that Bligh provided of the islands formed a picture of a civilization that was both intricate and fiercely independent, which piqued the interest of European explorers and merchants. The growing influence of European countries. At the beginning of the 19th century, European merchants, whalers, and missionaries started to develop a presence in the island nation of Fiji. The introduction of Christianity to Fijian society by missionaries, particularly those from the London Missionary Society, had a huge impact on the society of Fiji, resulting in substantial cultural and socio-economic changes. Nevertheless, the migration of Europeans coincided with the emergence of strife. The traditional Fijian culture, which consisted of a convoluted hierarchy of chieftainships and rivalry between different tribes, was thrown into disarray. When European settlers formed alliances with local chiefs, they frequently exacerbated pre-existing tensions, which ultimately resulted in violent conflicts. The Rewa Bau War, which took place in the 1840s, stands out as one of the most notorious confrontations. It resulted in a significant amount of carnage and ultimately led to the establishment of Bau as the dominating power in Fiji. The end of the Kakabau era and the beginning of Session. The influential chief Ratu Siruapanisa Kakabau, who was originally from Bau Island, was a significant figure in the history of Fiji at the middle of the 19th century. In the year 1852, he made the declaration that he was the king of Fiji and attempted to unite the islands under his authority. His reign, on the other hand, was laden with difficulties, such as opposition from other chiefs and European settlers. The desire of Kakabau to solidify his control drove him to seek backing from powers located outside of his own country. In the year 1858, he made an offer to the United Kingdom to hand up Fiji in exchange for assistance in finding solutions to his debts and resolving his internal disputes. In the beginning, this offer was turned down. Nevertheless, due to ongoing internal struggle and pressure from European settlers, Fiji was eventually formally ceded to the British Empire in the year 1874. The emergence of murder mysteries with the colonial rule of the United States. Significant changes occurred in Fiji when it was under the control of the British colonial government. The implementation of bonded labor from India for the purpose of working on sugar plantations brought about a transformation in the cultural and demographic landscape of the islands. Meanwhile, the colonial administration imposed new political and legal frameworks, which frequently marginalized the authority that had been traditionally held by the Fijian people. While these shifts were taking place, a string of unexplained homicides started to surface, which captivated the public's curiosity and brought to light the conflicts that existed throughout Fijian culture. A murder that occurred in 1867 and involved the Reverend Thomas Baker is considered to be one of the earliest and most notable incidents It is believed that the residents of Nabutathau village were responsible for Baker's death and cannibalization. Baker was a Methodist missionary. The occurrence of this event served as a jarring reminder of the cultural conflicts and misunderstandings that continue to exist in spite of the development of Christianity. Following the disappearance of British landowner John Humphrey Danford in the year 1896, colonial officials were intrigued by another unsolved case that remained unresolved. Following his disappearance from his plantation on the island of Tavuni, Danford left behind a trail of stories and speculations about his whereabouts. Others suspected that competing planters or possibly supernatural forces were responsible for his death, while others claimed that he was assassinated by angry laborers. The consequences of World War II and the present-day history of Fiji. For the duration of World War II, the islands of Fiji served as a strategic base for Allied forces operating in the Pacific. This had a significant impact on the country. The conflict brought about changes in the economy and society of the country, as well as new chances for the people of Fiji to interact with the rest of the globe. On the other hand, it brought to light the fundamental tensions that exist within Fijian society. In the years following the war, Fiji was witness to the growth of the independence movement, which ultimately resulted in the country's independence from Britain in the year 1970. The process of transitioning to self-rule was characterized by political instability and ethnic conflicts, particularly between the indigenous Fijian community and the Indo-Fijian community. The authorities and the general public continued to be perplexed by a number of high-profile murders and disappearances that occurred in this unstable climate. A tourist from Australia named Karen Knott was killed on the island of Vitilevu in 1977, and the incident horrified the entire country and brought to light the more sinister aspects of Fiji's rapidly growing tourism sector. In a similar vein, the unsolved disappearance of New Zealand yachtsman Kerry Hamilton in 1983 contributed to the attractiveness of the island through its enigmatic nature. In the modern era, there are still mysteries that have not been answered. Over the past few decades, Fiji has made efforts to construct a society that is both stable and rich, with a particular emphasis on economic development and tourism. On the other hand, the islands continue to be plagued by the specter of unsolved killings and disappearances. The public's obsession with true crime has been maintained by high-profile cases such as the murder of Fiji-born American businessman John Scott and his partner Gregory Scribner in Suva in 2007. These recent instances frequently offer a glimpse into the intricate interaction of social, economic, and political issues that are present in contemporary Fiji. Due to the fact that many of these crimes have not been solved, there is room for speculation and conspiracy theories, which contributes to the impression that the island is mysterious. Although Fiji is often portrayed as a tropical utopia, the secret history of killings in paradise reveals a side of the country that stands in stark contrast to this image. Violence and mystery are woven into the fabric of the nation's history, from the early colonial struggles and cultural clashes to the secrets of the contemporary day. These stories are woven into the fabric of the nation's past. To gain a more nuanced view on Fiji, it is necessary to have an understanding of this darker history. This understanding highlights the resiliency and complexity of the people and culture of Fiji. As Fiji continues to negotiate its way ahead, the legacy of these crimes that have not been investigated continues to serve as a chilling reminder of the violent history of the island. If you enjoyed this journey into the hidden history of Fiji, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Stay tuned for more intriguing stories and mysteries from around the world.